ببكة مباركا.
Okay. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Okay, so today is the 11th of Rajab, 1447, corresponding to the 31st of December, 2025. And we're in our part three of our series with lecture series, not lecture series, but a video series with Dr. Wali-Uddin, who is now back in the States after having spent about 11 years in Saudi Arabia. So part one, we talked about motivating factors, why you made the decision to come, seeking knowledge. Hijra was your perspective on Hijra at the time, your position, wajib, at least you know what that particular group of scholars were saying, that particular position. Then motivating factors that cause you to go back. So now spent 11 years, kids spent time here. Now time to go back to the States. So you can talk a little bit about, those things. Okay, the main things that made you make the decision to go back, and then also the challenges you faced when you went back with your kids. Okay, Sheikh, Fadl, go.
Yeah, so basically, main decision factor after I decided, actually, it was in 2019 on a
Mm,
final trip back to the States. My mother had been sick.
mm,
Over, and I think I was explaining this to you earlier that one of the things that we don't consider
mm,
uh, is that parents, when they get
mm,
in their old age, when we're
mm,
making a decision to make hijrah, parents, what about our parents? We have siblings here, or maybe some people
mm,
don't, but for me, they were non-Muslim.
mm,
My mother was non-Muslim and my father's
mm,
non-Muslim. And, we want to give our parents an opportunity,
mm,
give dawah, and even though I was able to provide that dawah to my mother, she had full, ample opportunity. She knew about Islam, and she had that opportunity. And I wanted and to continue to call her here,
mm,
And so that was main. She was sick. She was getting sick. And during my final trip here with the family, 2019, we decided once I, saw how, sick she was and how far she was, then we decided to stay. My kids, I left my family here, went back, finished up my contract, and then we started making that transition. They made that transition earlier, and it was my family actually helped me out. But you have to plan. Even coming back here, when you lived in Saudi Arabia for so long, you've established, um, you got household goods, you've established a new life,
mm, mm,
life, and
mm,
and just picking up, and sometimes now
mm,
I integrated into Saudi society. Like we were saying,
mhm,
I went to Walimas, I went to, I was interacting with Saudis. I went have shay, take tea. We went out to the Makkah, the cafe. So I fully integrated into the Saudi society, especially because I was involved in the dawah. At that time, I used to go to different dawah functions, and so I integrated and went to different brother houses and these things,
Which
and
is which
some.
is an excellent point, Barakallah fik, because some people they say doing hijrah, so they leave on hijrah, but they don't integrate into the society. They kind of stay with the Westerners. I mean, it's okay, whatever's comfortable for you,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Well,
but
we
alhamdulillah,
integrated.
alhamdulillah, you got a chance to integrate into with the society, the Saudis, the Arabs. That's good, excellent. Yeah, because I remember
Yeah,
I remember your neighbor. I remember
yeah,
your neighbor.
and the
Yeah,
customs, so we
mashallah,
basically,
mashallah.
get into the customs and understanding our customs and these things. It was just part of that, and since
Mm,
my wife
mm,
was from an Arab community country, it was natural, for us to, we would visit families and these things, and one of the things while we're there, but anyway, that transition coming back here,
mm, mm,
you left a life and like decided to sell things. So it was goods that I had to sell very cheap. And so coming back, it was hard. But at the same time, I was thinking about my parents, and I'm still thinking about my father. Coming up ways to try to talk with him, but just being there and being having the opportunity to discuss certain things at certain times is difficult to do over the phone.
mm, mm.
And so I knew that. And so, but some people say, well, you could always call your family and keep what is it, keep
Keep
relations.
ties. Yeah, keep
But with
family
my
ties.
considering my
Mm,
parents,
mm.
I consider serving my parents,
MashaAllah.
a priority
Alhamdulillah.
until they're
Alhamdulillah.
dead. And
Mm-hmm.
this is what I try to tell my to my children. And
Mm-hmm.
that's if there's a couple of things that I understood from studying is that honoring your parents and serving your parents is one of the
Mm-hmm.
ways that you can attain Jannah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the main one. That was a reason. So to give dawah to my parents, and also the focus was around my parents. That was it. And still, my father here. Reason I'm still here now. I could be in Morocco, be other places, but my father's here. I do have other things here, material things, houses, whatever, but that's the main reason that's keeping me here right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I do have other, I could go to Morocco or these other places, but that was the deciding factor was my mother. And alhamdulillah, we got to spend 2 years with her, and I did have deep discussions about Islam with my mother, you know, and she didn't totally accept Islam, but you gotta, she died on what she believed, and it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
Islam, and and
Mm-hmm.
so now it's my father, and another thing, you got to come up with creative ways and to interact with your family, and it's difficult to do overseas, calling, and so
Mm-hmm.
alhamdulillah, I'm here and I'm able to do that, and
So what were some of the main challenges that you encountered when you went back? So you're transitioning back to the States after having been out for about 11 years. Kids spent a lot of time outside of the States in Saudi. Now you go on back. You got, I guess, the English language skills. I'm not sure how that was a challenge for them getting them into school. Uh, yeah, just some of the main challenges. Yeah, go ahead.
so you need to save some money when you're gonna
Hmm.
do, come back.
Good, good, good.
Came back with about 3,000. I had 3,000 left over. And
Okay.
also, I'm gonna say this too. I had established some debt.
You had $3,000 or 3,000 reals.
No, dollars.
Because
Dollars,
people
right?
have to realize that the dollar to the real is almost
Yeah.
4 to 1. You know what I
I'm
mean?
just sharing
Like
as the reality of
for one dollar,
what
and here you get paid in reals. In Saudi Arabia, you get paid in reals, and $1 is equivalent to 3.75 reals. That's the other thing
yeah.
people have to consider. Going back to the States, it's much more expensive. So your
Yeah,
startup costs. Also, what about credit and all of that stuff? The rent apartment, all of
yeah,
these
yeah.
things. Go ahead.
No, I didn't have to worry about that because I had a house. Part of the thing my mother
Mm,
wanted me to come back, and they made it way where if I bought back, it would be easy for me to come. So my
mm,
house, they left the house as a trust to me.
alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
And I remember, but anyway, that was easy for me to come back. And I won't say kind of easy. So I was able to come back and I had to pay rent. I
Okay.
did pay rent for my family here. So while I was there closing up my affairs in Saudi Arabia, because you can't leave the country with debt. I don't know if people
Mm.
know that.
You have to
You got to
close
close out.
everything out. You have to close everything out. Bank
Oh, yeah.
accounts, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I know brother right now, struggling with that right now. He ain't seen his
Mm,
family. He's there, and so that's something you got to watch. It's easy
mm,
being over
mm,
there. You can have access. They'll give you credit. They'll give you these things, but you got to watch your finances over there as well.
mm,
So when you're ready to leave, or if you need to leave, you can do that. But anyway, the biggest challenge is like, family coming back, getting the house ready. I had to do some, work with that. Now people, other people had to rent, and that was, again, I spent most of my money paying my debt off from Saudi.
mm.
And so you got to be aware of that. And then the second challenge, it was really, um, I don't say I moved to my home. So, what are the challenges that really it's that you lived in an Arab country, conservative country for 11 years, and
And having access
transitioning
to the masjid, because here masajid are all over the place. So
and
making a
yeah,
salah is very easy. So now you went back. That may
Now,
be, maybe
yeah,
that was a
now the
challenge as
masjid
well.
is, yeah.
Mm, mm, mm,
But because I had become Muslim here, I had already established. So you were saying earlier, and I do know that some people struggle with that, but alhamdulillah, Allah
mm,
never, I never had a problem
mm,
with the prayer struggling.
mm,
We
mm,
used to,
mm, mm,
I wouldn't play in the middle of the street, but we used to drop behind Walmart wherever we at. Just like in Saudi, you have to plan. Okay, you got messages everywhere, so
all
you
over the
can
place,
pray.
even in the
Right.
malls, all over,
So
restaurants.
in the
Yeah.
States, you got a plan when you're going out, okay, it's
Mm,
awesome right now, oh, I'm going out the Lord, I'm gonna be back. I need to make, oh, you're gonna pray, oh, we're gonna go. Now after 9/11, I kind of like, I don't pray out in the middle of the street. I might go somewhere in the back or something like that. But better be careful. I live in the country, you know.
mm,
So but anyway, I did live in the country. Now I'm in the city, I'm in a rural city, but the masjid is not readily available. Now I do have a key here, and I can go. I try to get there as much as I can, but nobody, this particular masjid in our community is not, well, Musalla. It's not even, no one goes there except on Friday. So and
Talk to Sheikh. Talk more about the challenges, like with your kids, getting them back, like school, because some people are
um,
going back with
the
did you have
school
any?
was
Hmm.
so I was telling you earlier, the school was not that was I homeschooled my kids.
Okay.
And so the biggest thing is you don't really have to
Mm-mm.
have documentation where I was at. You just basically, if you don't have documentation, they're going to put them in the grade level where they're at,
Mm-mm.
the grade level,
Mm-hmm.
and if English language is not an issue too, since I'm in the school system now, language is not an issue. I mean, it is, but they might drop them back if they don't know
Mm-hmm.
English. They might drop them a grade level back to try to give them a chance to catch up, but getting them in school is not a big deal, a regular public school. So you come with your with records, or your standardized test score, and and the principal look at that, and they'll just put them. But most of the time, they'll put them on their grade level. They
Okay.
could test them, but
Okay.
they'll
Okay.
just talk to them if your English is good, and then they'll just put you on a grade level and see how you do. So for me, it wasn't that wasn't a big deal when I did put them in the public school, and I would
Okay.
advise now, honestly, public school, you need to come up with an option. Don't, if you can avoid that, don't do it.
Because the other thing is, you were here in Saudi, the schools
Yeah.
are separate. You have girls' schools and
Yeah.
you have boys' schools. So now you go back to the States, the schools
Well,
are
yeah, it's all mixed.
mixed.
It's mixed.
Even probably
But
even the Islamic schools, probably even the Islamic, what they call the
yeah, the
Islamic
Islamic
schools,
schools,
probably
yep.
mixed as well, boys and girls. Maybe
Yeah,
due to finances or, lack of space or whatever.
no, yeah, the Islamic schools. So basically, now I taught in Islamic school, so we had left and right. We didn't put the girls in
Hmm.
the back,
Okay.
That's
Okay.
how we did it.
Okay. Okay.
But it was, alhamdulillah, but getting them school was not a big challenge. But
Mm-mm.
as brothers, you need to think about this, that
Mm,
and also social media, wherever
mm,
you're at, you gotta keep them away from that as long as you can when they're young. That social media is poison. Honestly, it's poison for the young ones. It's poison so early, and also when you go to school and you're dealing with the, that influences in school.
mm,
Homeschool your children if you can, or put them in Islamic school if you can afford it. Move to a community that have services available for your family. That's
mm,
if you can do that. Move to a community. If you have the ability, move to a community to where you can, support the youth, have youth
mm,
programs or something for the kids,
mhm,
and try to homeschool your kids and put them in Islamic school. That should be something that you need to put a high priority on. And no matter whatever they tell you, just I've been teaching for 20 something years,
mhm,
and I'm in the high school, public school right now. And I've taught in Saudi. I taught all, have right around the world in Saudi. But I would advise you read the fatwa.
mm, mm,
Right, go with it. You better pay attention to that. Now, but also you got to understand too that needs to be mutual. But with Americans, Muslims, we understand the importance of homeschool.
mm.
But anyway, but that homeschooling, so basically school was not a big issue. The transition,
Okay.
other thing,
Okay.
jobs. The job
Mm,
issue
mm,
is
mm, mm,
basically making being able to, you don't have the musalla, at our old jobs in Saudi, we have a musalla, we had a masjid, again, making a prayer.
But let me just
So
Doc, let me just talk to you real quickly about the job. So the years of experience that you accumulated here while working in Saudi, was that recognized? How was that treated when you went back to
you
the
know,
States and you put that on
so
your resume or your CV?
uh, the jobs, like if you go to a principal, someone they'll recognize it. But as
Uh,
far as for pay, when you, in North Carolina,
uh,
the
uh,
it is if whatever you have at in a public school, a certified, that's how your salary is determined. The number of years you
uh,
served in a
uh,
public school in a state, and it has to be verified. Right?
uh,
So those years didn't count for me.
okay,
Um, and now private schools or somewhere may count that, salary determinant, but the state, no,
uh,
they don't
yeah, that
count.
might. I guess that might vary from state to state or from
Yeah,
district to
yeah.
district.
And
Yeah.
and also your retirement,
Mm,
that, if you, and I would advise people, if you
mm,
in public school, if you have a retirement, don't pull your money out unless you have to. Leave it in
mm,
there.
mm,
Now
mm.
you do, make contributions or whatever, but I pulled all my money out. I had to start all over when I came back.
Yeah, you did.
So,
You did like me. I took pension money. I took it out,
and
and then yeah,
and I
and
just
then the
can't,
Reba
now
gave
I'm
me.
just
Yeah.
hitting 5 years now back.
Mm,
But this is something because when you're retirement, it's, if you want to say whatever retirement you get, I did have enough money in the Social Security system where I could get, have a little, enough to live on in Morocco, if
okay.
I decide to go back there.
What about also the other thing is, a lot of times I know in my case, when you raise your kids in a foreign country like Saudi, for example, um, the relationship they have with their cousins and things like that, they kind of become estranged because, we do family reunions, we have certain activities
Yeah,
that go on there, just visiting, not necessarily the holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas. We don't participate in that anyhow. But I'm talking about like Eid. Eid is a very important, the two Eids, the Eidain, that's a very important, those are very important activities even in the United States, the
yeah,
Western
well,
countries.
yeah,
So now
we
missing that's another fact. I don't know with your
oh
kids
no,
coming back their relationship with their cousins from their
well,
brothers.
they didn't really know their cousins once we got back.
Mm. Yeah.
Every family is different. So my
Mm-mm.
family close knit.
Mm-hmm.
So we're close to my cousins and the immediate family. So those relations are there. The nephews, nieces, nephews, we're kind of close. So
And are they
uh,
are they Muslim, by the way? Or what about
no,
no? Okay.
no,
So they're
my
non-Muslim cousins.
family
Yeah.
were only Muslims, and that's
Mm-hmm.
another thing. I'm trying to get the efforts maintaining. So when I was
Oh,
telling you, I think I told you
oh.
earlier, study being in a rural area and not having match programs, I'm able to teach, to the best of my ability, to Quran and these things. My wife, kids,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Sharia. We're doing, different books with Al-Uda right now, with my kids.
Okay. Okay.
My Thalat al-Usul, different books just to maintaining. So we don't go to the Sunday School program because it's so far away. And, now I do have my kids in the Scout program, which, that was something I had to struggle with, but to get my kids, when you get your kids in the house all the time, I needed
Mm-hmm.
something to get them out, some activities, and it's at the masjid and Charlotte. I don't like some of the ceremonial things they do, but as far as the scouting values and these things, they parallel a lot of parallels with Islam. There's no
Okay. Okay.
contradiction as far as the codes. It's just some of their rituals I don't like approve of with the candles and stuff. Those some of those rituals, but practical skills and camping, some of the things I believe that some of the Muslims can do. But that's something that I did with my kids,
Okay.
and it's with Muslims, and that's their interaction with other Muslim youth,
Mm, 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 mm. Okay.
and
Okay.
do that, and alhamdulillah.
Okay.
And so, but I think the challenges is with the kids is the kids have to have a community, and feel a
Mm-hmm.
community,
Mm-hmm.
and they need to be socializing with other kids their age, and just another challenge is that those games, certain internet, social media, and these things,
Mm-hmm.
it's challenging. no
Now, but
matter where you.
let me ask you another question, another challenge. Did you face this now? Start you because one of the motivating factors for you to come to Saudi was to seek knowledge. Okay, we got 10 minutes going. To seek knowledge. So now, having sought knowledge when you came, then you get used to hearing proper Arabic spoken, recited, the Quran being recited properly, seeking knowledge, knowing what a person of knowledge is. Then you go back, then the local masjid may not necessarily be there. So then sometimes the imam may find that maybe as a threat. So did you experience that, or was that a challenge? Talk about that
No,
for us.
because because I'm not, me. Alhamdulillah, I try to keep it humble myself. And and really, you can say that I studied, but
Hmm.
I was, the way we didn't know how you seek knowledge, like first memorize Quran, these things. We were reading books and these things. And then we skip, but over more normally a student, the children learn Quran, memorize Quran first. And then they're
Hmm.
going seeking other things.
Hmm.
So when we keep converts a lot, we go in and start reading these books, fiqh books, and these things first, and then call ourselves students. Man, we didn't get the foundations of the Arab. A lot of can't read the Quran properly. So the Book of Allah is supposed to be given priority, and
Even the adhan, because you got used to hearing the adhan
yeah,
recited properly, and
and
then you
and
go there, and that's maybe a challenge too,
and and,
trying to
and,
correct the folks.
and so when you read like the people that choose their imams, they're
Mm.
choosing the imams that are like them. So you can't go in and oh, his Arabic is not this way. No, they're
Mm.
choosing they're like their people that they're leading. They chosen that people and they're satisfied with them. So you know, and I might feel that way sometimes. I feel threatened, but alhamdulillah, I'm not trying to get a what do you call it? Get famous. I'm just trying to be sincere to Allah and guide my children and whoever wants to benefit from me. So I'm focusing on my family, and so now
Mm.
and my brothers and sisters, that are non-Muslim, and so that's basically what I've been doing as far as that. But yeah, there is some uh, uh, you know, you meet brothers that study from different areas, Kuwait and they're not Saudi doesn't have a good reputation right now. I think I'll tell you about that. I was sitting in a meeting, and they're banging the scholars, because of certain things. They were, criticizing because of what's happening politics, and I tried to explain, well, scholars are not, certain, if you tell somebody the scholars are still teaching in Saudi, if you went, they're still doing what they've been
Of
doing.
course, no doubt,
The students are still learning, and you
no
try to
doubt.
tell people that they don't understand. People that want to seek knowledge are going, and that's what they're concerned with. And I
Hmm.
said they are advising the rulers just like they've been doing.
Of course.
They're not,
Yeah,
but you're not going to know.
we're not into khuruj. That's not from the
And
religion
so,
to
you don't
rebel
know
and
what, so
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
business, basically. It's not your
yeah.
business to be getting in certain things. Everybody
Right.
deal with what,
Exactly.
I guess stay in your lane. That's what we're supposed to
Stay
do.
in your lane. Stay in your lane.
And so we don't need to be worried about what's, certain, what the mufti's doing. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Okay.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
understand that when we have seen how the character and of the people that we studied under. So, when you see when you go to the Haram, you see Sekwasi Allah, the different scholars, you see the way they carry
Of course.
themselves.
Now, check. Look,
So,
we down to about 5 minutes. So basically, wrap it up. So the challenges. So your transition has basically been not too bad. Alhamdulillah. It's been good for you,
it's
mashallah.
not too bad
Going back.
because alhamdulillah,
Yeah.
my family was supportive. I had
Mm-hmm.
family support.
Yep.
My mother had the foresight, didn't
Mm.
convince me
Mm-hmm.
to accept the the trust. All right, so a lot
Mm-hmm.
of brothers think you can't inherit from non-Muslims. They don't understand wasiya. They don't understand the difference between the laws of inheritance and wasiya.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is something brothers use. Even brothers never studied,
And
but you never.
giving you the house as a gift. She gives it to you as a gift. You're not
It's
like
a
it
trust.
wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not an
bequeath.
inheritance.
They
You're
don't
not
understand.
inheriting from her. That wasn't inheritance. No, that's not
Yeah,
water.
but but that's the thing a lot of people don't understand, and that's a one of the things, pick up a hadith book and no one explain it to you, and but anyway, that's another story. But anyway, alhamdulillah, it was easy for me because I had a place. I didn't have to pay rent. I just paid
Alhamdulillah,
electricity,
alhamdulillah,
and I was able to save and get a house, and alhamdulillah, that's Allah's made it easy for me. And so now
alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
I'm struggling. I told you, I love to try to come back, but I
Inshallah,
am
inshallah.
trying to, I'm trying to keep my options open, for the future, inshallah. But to my kids, I'm just trying to make sure that get my kids to a certain point, being
Mm,
Allah, educate them in the basics of the book, basic understanding of Quran, how to read and the Arabic. And now they have to read in English too, because they read Arabic. But
mm.
I said, you got to read the Quran in Arabic, these things. So we're working on tarbiyah, ta'aleem, for ourselves,
Okay,
educating
alhamdulillah,
ourselves, family.
alhamdulillah.
And so that's what the focus it needs to be, because this is, you know, coming back here. I don't want to give a cesspool. That might be a too extreme, but it's a lot of influences here, and it requires constant reminder. And your kids are in here without that, got to have that support,
Mhm,
so their friends are calling them, the music is calling them,
mhm.
music is a big thing everywhere, but
It's
this is
everywhere.
called.
Yeah, yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah.
But anyway, this is what's happening to our kids. So you just got to make the best as you can. When you're coming back here, you're going to have a lot of vices that you didn't have there. And it's a challenge. But, that's that American Muslim experience.
Mm,
Alhamdulillah. You
yeah.
have to focus and work on your continued struggle. And that's what we do. And alhamdulillah, our kids coming from that society where it's been easy, that's where they struggle when they come back. So I'm here to help my kids that transition,
Okay.
instead of,
Barakallah khair.
them here have to
Barakallah
figure it
fikum.
out themselves.
Barakallah
So I'm
fikum.
able to do that instead of waiting till they're 18 and coming back and throwing them in here. We had to go
Mhm.
and go to school with girls and all this and deal with alcohol and going to parties. So I'm here to tell them, hey, you know what? That's something, you got to stay away from that. Hey, you know
Listen,
what? You
we had listen, before we go, we had touched on a lot of things that outside of the video thing. We had talked, off camera about a lot of stuff, man. And these things are just too short. So maybe we'll come back, be in the lot later, and do something called, I think I was mentioning to you, know before you go. Like, kind of that thing like tie your
yeah,
camel, if you
yeah,
will. But just kind of just don't leave and I mean, alhamdulillah, things worked out for you, but for other people going back, real, a lot of challenges, a lot of difficult. And like I said, there have been people who have lived here a lot longer than you did. You didn't, I mean, I've been here since 93. So, raised kids over here and they've since gone back because of, certain, lack of certain opportunities. People don't even know, like, for example, my kids went to government school here. But if you do government school, if they graduate from a public school here, they are not allowed to attend the Islamic university. People don't even know that, because the Islamic university is essentially for people coming from outside. You get it? I'm talking about they have a certain number of seats set aside for
yeah,
for that
yeah.
for that population. Anyhow, Sheikh, barakallahu fikum wa
We can
jazakallahu
barakallah.
khairan. May Allah Ta'ala reward you tremendously. Put this on your scale of good deeds for just hopefully people will benefit from the information that you shared, man. And we have, like I said, we have to try and do it again. Hopefully we'll have like a panel discussion at some point with some more brothers who, um, you know, have since transitioned, came here initially, transitioned back. Okay, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I think, let me see.